Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaim Tato Jayamudisha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3. But yesterday I made a mistake. This was the only verse, one, and we could have finished it yesterday. But anyway, we'll do it today. Text number 25. अथाभिधे ह्यंग मनोनुकूलम प्रभाष्य से भागवत प्रधानम यदा वैया सकेरात्म विद्या विशारदो नृपतिम साधु पृष्ठः. O Sud Goswami, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain this to us as it was spoken by the great devotee Sukadeva Goswami, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge and who spoke to Maharaj Parikshit upon being asked. So Shaunak Rishi is asking, he's saying, Sud Goswami, you please explain. Knowledge explained by the previous Acharya, Sud Goswami, is always powerful transcendental knowledge, and it's therefore penetrating and useful to all submissive students. Chapter 4, so we'll start today, the process of creation. Text 1. Sutuvacha Vayasakiriti Vachas Tattva Nishchayatmanaha Upadharya Matim Krishne Autreya Satim Vyadhat. Sud Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Sukadeva Goswami, which were all about the truth of the self, applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna. So Sukadeva Goswami had told Maharaj Parikshit about concentration upon Krishna. First he talked about the universal form, and later on, basically then in the end of second chapter, he talked about the devotional service and how yes, the devotional services shown again to Sud Goswami. So now Sud Goswami is speaking. So after hearing the speeches of Sukadeva Goswami, which were all about the truth of the self, Maharaj Parikshit applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna. So we have to first make sure that we know which conversation is going on and what is the context going on. Otherwise, we will lose track and we can also lose interest. So now Sud Goswami is speaking with Shaunak Rishi and the rest of the sages. And later on, he will say, okay, now Maharaj Parikshit asked this question, and then Sukadeva Goswami answered, then that conversation will start. So we have to follow the conversation. The word satin is very significant. This means existing and chaste. And both imports are perfectly applicable in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. The whole Vedic adventure is to draw one's attention entirely unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna without any diversion, as instructed in Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Fortunately, Maharaj Parikshit had already been attracted to the Lord from the very beginning of his body, in the womb of his mother. In the womb of his mother, he was struck by Brahmastra, atomic bomb released by Ashwatthama. But by the grace of the Lord, he was saved from being burned by the fiery weapon. And since then, the king continuously concentrated his mind upon Lord Krishna, which made him perfectly chaste in devotional service. So chaste means, as Prabhupada has explained, satim, chaste or existing, means concentrated his mind on Krishna only. So by natural sequence, he was a chaste devotee of the Lord. And when he further heard from Srila Sukadeva Goswami that one should worship the Lord only and no one else, even though full of all desires or desireless, his natural affection for Krishna was strengthened. We have already discussed these topics. So now Prabhupada gives another explanation. To become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, two things are very much essential, namely, having a chance to be born in the family of a devotee and having the blessings of a bona fide spiritual master. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Parikshit had both the opportunities. He was born in a family of such devotees as the Pandavas, and just to continue the dynasty of the Pandavas and show them special favor, the Lord specifically saved Maharaj Parikshit, who later on, by the arrangement of the Lord, was cursed by the boy of a Brahmin and was able to get the association of such a spiritual master as Sukadeva Goswami. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that a fortunate person, by the mercy of the spiritual master and Lord Krishna, achieves the path of devotional service. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Beej. Brahmand Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jiva. Brahmand means in the whole universe, Jiva is going up and down planets, but he's very fortunate. If by the mercy of Guru and Krishna he gets the seed of devotional service sprouted in his heart. So this is what even Shashwati Mata was talking about before we started the class. Means how fortunate we are. Although we failed in so many Satyugas, failed in Treta Yuga, failed in Dwapar Yuga, and of course, before this Kali Yuga, we failed in so many, millions and millions of Kali Yugas also we have failed. Fail means we didn't go back home, back to Godhead. We are stuck here. But now, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, and obviously devotees, we somehow got into this path of devotional service. So only thing is, now we should take it up seriously and sincerely. That's the whole idea. This was perfectly applicable in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. By way of being born in a family, he craved knowledge and self-reliance from a bona fide spiritual master. He was perfectly able to concentrate his chaste mind further upon Lord Krishna as a matter of course. So by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, at least we have a chance, we got this golden opportunity to come in contact with Prabhupada, Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's movement, Prabhupada's temples that he has established, Prabhupada's followers, Prabhupada's instructions, Prabhupada's way of performing bhakti, means that he has set up. It's wonderful. It's just if we just follow it properly. That's all. And Prabhupada has given assurance that I will take you back. Just like one Srila Prabhupada was given until. And then he looked at the audience and all the disciples of Prabhupada, they were sitting and they were looking morose. 100% they were thinking him not in 90% pure. You can see disciple 90% it's not possible. And Prabhupada in the lecture, he looked at all of it, he said, okay, 80% pure, you'll still go back. And they were like, okay, there is some hope, but still it's like undoable. And when Prabhupada finished his lecture, he got down from his Vyasasana and he put his charger on his shoulder and he said, 70% pure, I will take you back. And Prabhupada said, I will take you back from the back door of Golok Vrindavan. I don't know if there is what is backdoor, but if Prabhupada is saying backdoor means there are two meanings of it. Some Maharaj was explaining one that the key to a back door. Suppose there's a big palace, and yes, he is very confidential and he is very pakka security guard. But the key to the back door is given to a person who's really, really confidential because he can admit anybody from the back door and nobody would know. So they were saying that, so Prabhupada, we don't know who he is, but he is very confidential associate of Radha Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's for sure. And second is, from the back door, who goes through the back door? People who are not eligible or qualified to come through the front door. So obviously, we will go to the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, only by mercy of Prabhupada, and he'll just sneak us in from the back door. Okay, you're not qualified, but just come on in, just get inside. This is what is going to happen. And this is mercy of Prabhupada, nothing else. It's not like we can bribe him to go from in back door. Only his mercy. All he and do such services. And I think we all can do that. There is no excuse for that, actually. Anyway, so text 2, Sukadeva Goswami is further saying, Atmajaya Sutagara Pashu Sutagara Pashrudra Venbandhushu Rajya Cha Vikale Nityam Viruda Mamatam Jahu. Maharaj Parikshit, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for Lord Krishna, was able to give up all deep-rooted affection for his personal body, his wife, his children, his palace, his animals like horses and elephants, his treasury house, his friends and relatives, and his undisputed kingdom. So this is what happens when some devotees ask, Prabhu, how do I know if I'm making advancement? So one can give up all these material attachments and affections easily if one is making progress, if one has got some attraction for Krishna. To become liberated means to become free from the Atma Buddhi, the illusory attachment for personal bodily coverings and everything connected to the body, namely wife, children, and all other entanglements. One selects a wife for bodily comforts, and the result is children. For wife and children, one requires a dwelling place, and as such, a residential house is also necessary. Animals like horses, elephants, cows, and dogs are all household animals, and a householder has to keep them as household paraphernalia. In modern civilization, the horses and elephants have been replaced by cars and conveniences with considerable horsepower. So we don't have live horses, but we have cars with horsepower. So it's pretty much the same. To maintain all the household affairs, one has to increase the bank balance and be careful about the treasury house. And in order to display the opulence of material assets, one has to keep good relations with friends and relatives, as well as become very careful about maintaining the status quo. This is called material civilization of material attachment. Devotion for Lord Krishna means negation of all material attachments as detailed above. So, but this negation is not forced negation or giving up these material attachments. It's not forced. And it's not done by peer pressure. And it should not be done to as a matter of show off. It should not be done that if I do it, then I'll be accepted in so-called devotee circle. No, this is natural. Maharaj Parikshit did not do anything like that to show off, as a show off. He was completely attracted to Krishna. Even before he came to this place, the banks of Ganges, to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, it was so easy, natural for him to give it up. So the idea is we have to develop so much of Krishna consciousness, so much of bhakti that naturally one can give up. And giving up material attachment, again, we have to understand, giving up material attachment, we cannot imitate Maharaj Parikshit. Giving up doesn't mean we have to leave the house. Even living inside the house, one can be detached. There are various ways of detachment to show it. And moreover, we don't have to show it to anybody. The bhakti, the process, the path of bhakti, or how much we are developing, making progress, it's between us and Krishna. We don't have to show it to anybody. We don't have to get a certificate from anybody. We have to understand this because people, I know I have seen many devotees, they make mistakes here. We don't have to show it to anybody. This will feel ourselves. Just like if you are eating rasgulla, only you know when you are full and how much taste is in the rasgulla. Nobody can tell you. Similarly, bhakti, how much tasty it is, how much you're making progress, only you know. Nobody else knows, and nobody has a right to give you any certificate. Oh, Mataji, you are making lots of progress. Oh, Prabhu. Yes, people, devotees do say that, which is very nice. But only the person knows how much detached he is and how much attached he is, he or she is. How much attached to Krishna and how much detached from the material world. We don't have to show it to anybody. That is bhakti. Prabhupada, obviously, he will give the right ideals, right standards for us to follow, for us to live by. But this is what we have to live by. And that's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to say, Vaishnava we are at heart in our dealings with others, how simple we are in our services to Krishna. That is Vaishnavism. So we have to keep it in front of us. It had to be simple, not complicated. Not a show off, not a peer pressure, not to just to do something so that um, I can get some kind of respect or acceptance by others. That's not bhakti. This we do in our material life all the time, at our offices, in our relations, or at home, or in a neighborhood. We do it all the time. That's not bhakti. So bhakti is internally, we have to develop that attachment for Krishna. That is bhakti. That's Prabhupada, right? That is a position of a pure devotee. Maharaj Parikshit, due to his natural affection for Lord Krishna, as devotee of the Lord, was always executing his royal duties on behalf of the Lord. And as a responsible king of the world, he was always careful to see that the influence of Kali would not enter. A devotee of the Lord never thinks of his household paraphernalia as but surrenders everything for the service of the Lord. Thereby living entities under a devotee's care can get the opportunity for God realization devotee is always he renders everything for the service of the Lord. Attachment for household paraphernalia and for together. One attachment is a path of darkness, and the other attachment is the path of light. Where there is light, there is no darkness, and where there is darkness, there is everything. And the best here is Pandavas. Maharaj Yudhishthir and householders like him can turn everything to light by dovetailing so-called material assets in the service of the Lord. But one who is not trained or is unable to turn everything to the service of the Lord must give up all material connections before he can be fit to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. See, so this is what Prabhupada is writing. Maharaj Yudhishthir, he dovetailed all material assets in the service of the Lord. He didn't give up material assets. He used everything for the service of the Lord. So that is devotee. That is bhakti. Of course, when the right time came, Maharaj Yudhishthira just gave up everything. Like Maharaj Parikshit also gave up everything. But not that he gave up everything and that's why he's called a devotee, a pure devotee. But he used everything in service of Krishna. That is what devotion service is. There is no utility simply in imitating Maharaj Parikshit and hearing Bhagavatam from professional men, even for 700 years. To take Srimad Bhagavatam as a means of maintaining family expenditure is the grossest type of namaprad, offense at the feet of the Lord. So, Bhagavatam has to be heard by a pure heart and from a devotee who is pure at heart. Then there'll be change of heart, transformation of our heart also. Text 3 and 4. Oh, it's a long purport. So anyway, I think I will stop here. We'll cover this text tomorrow. Anybody has any questions or comments?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna. I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai